And a warm welcome along to today's United Kingdom talk. I've had a marvellous time, actually. A marvellous time, a couple of little days, 3 days with my 2 nieces and the older one's girlfriend, and we went to Thorpe Park. And I'm bursting at the seams to tell you all about that. Unfortunately, they have now left. And once again, the house is lonely. Lonely but clean, boys and girls. No longer do I have to walk around the house picking up cups left all over the place, or flush toilets, or clean sinks. Dear, dear me. Although the house is not going to be empty for long. Let me tell you that now, because James Dean apparently is on the way for his 3rd visit this year. I don't know why he keeps coming down here. I think they're a bit short of food and electricity up there. James Dean from the Manchester area, of course, hosts the show matineeshow.co.uk. He's on his way down for another couple of nights. Oh. And the trouble is, you know, it'll be more work for me because nothing's done when James Dean is here, as I've mentioned so many times before. Cups everywhere. Doesn't lift a finger when he's here. You think I'm not joking? Ask him. He'd proudly tell you how he doesn't do a damn thing when he's here. It's shocking, it really is. Anyway, those of you that watch the show will be treated, I hope it's a treat to you, to a little video, which is actually showing on a video screen behind me at the moment, of our trip to Thorpe Park. When did we go? Was in the school holidays, and that for me was 2 days ago. Well, I can't remember the day now. Tuesday, that was it. Went to Thorpe Park on Tuesday. Well, we left the house around 10:30 in the morning, and I'm only actually half an hour away from Thorpe Park. If you don't know what Thorpe Park is, it's a bit like is it an amusement park? No, a theme park. That's it. It's a theme park, and it's mainly roller coasters. Okay. Mainly roller coasters and fast rides, which is no good to me whatsoever. But I don't care, as long as I can spend some time with my little nephews. Oh. Anyway, so we left here around about 10:30, and my nephew, Gary, drove his car. He's got a nice car, big Vauxhall Astra, a red Astra. And I sat in the back, and I have to say, I mean, it's a very sporty car, it's a very laddie car. It's bright red, dark windows at the back and all that. And I'm sorry, Gary, you know, it must be the most uncomfortable car I've sat in my entire life, dear. For a start, there's only 2 doors at the front, OK? So he sits in his driving seat and his girlfriend sits in the front, and poor old little Jimmy, 12 years old, has to sit in the back with poor old Uncle Chris, who has a blooming hard job getting in and out of that car. I'm telling you that now. God's sake, I don't know what it is, but the front seats, don't appear to go that far forward in this 2-door Vauxhall Astra. And it's really hard to get in and out. Well, I mean, Jimmy can get in and out. I don't know, I just don't seem to be able to bend over far enough. Does anyone else have trouble bending over? Is it something to do with my age, lovies? Is that what it is? I don't know, but anyway, you know, and I'm pushing, and then when I kind of, I can't even explain it. Just a minute. Let me. I kind of, I'll try to. As I'm getting out, you're in the back like this, and then when you get out, you've got to kind of bend right over and put a foot on the floor. But my foot doesn't get to the floor, and I kind of had to rock. And Jimmy has got my arm and he's trying to pull me out of this blooming car. Oh, God, it is, really is. And of course, when you're in the car, no leg room whatsoever. It's like sitting, not that I'd know much about this, of course, dears, but it's like sitting in economy in the back of a plane. It's so uncomfortable. It really is. Fast, yes. Good looking, lovely looking car. Beautiful car. Beautiful car. Fast, yes. Comfortable, no. And it's, I don't know, I mean, Gary's bigger than me, right? And I don't know how he sits in the driving seat, because just before he went, he did let me have a little drive of his car, which is very responsive, nice to drive and all that. But number one, when you've got I just don't feel I've got much vision in front of me, you know? The way the windscreen is, and especially if you have the sun visor down. you can't actually see much out of the windscreen, and that can't be good, can it? Not only that, but he's got those stupid bucket seats. Do you know the ones with sides? And I'm sitting in it and I just don't feel comfortable. I'm sorry, Gary. £10,000 that car was, weren't it? Most uncomfortable car I've ever sat in my entire life. Apart from a Sierra that I had. I once had a Ford Sierra. I'm going back, God knows how many years now. And I found that excessively uncomfortable as well. The most comfortable car I had was a clapped out old BMW. I mean, it really was old. All the seat, the foam was torn and everything. But it was so comfortable. Gary, sorry, uncomfortable car. Anyway, so we got there eventually. Got there around about 11 o'clock. Went into this massive car park. And the first problem we had was finding the entrance. I know it sounds stupid, but we're in the middle of this car park looking around for the entrance. We could not find it anywhere. Eventually, we followed some people and they went towards this arch thing, and that was the entrance. So that was that. While we were looking for the entrance, we did notice people who appeared to be working for Thorpe Park, like in groups of 3 in the car park, actually doing nothing. I don't know what their purpose was. Anyway, so we got them paid for the thing. Not a cheap day out, I have to say. It would appear that they put all the prices up for school holidays because little Jimmy was on his school holidays. And there were no offers at all. It was £35 each, which I found quite expensive. Now, of course, people that will have gone to Disney will tell you that Disney is more expensive much more expensive, I think, than £35 each. However, you know, in comparison to Disney, I think it doesn't come anywhere near it. You know. So that's it. So we paid our money, £35 each. We went in and immediately, Stacey, that's Gary's girlfriend, she wanted a cup of tea. Well, actually, I wanted a cup of tea as well, but I weren't going to say anything because I think they wanted to go straight on the rides. So we stopped at this place called Caf. We stopped within, like, the entrance area, a place called Cafe Nero. Okay? And we ordered 4 cups of tea. Now, I don't like to make myself out to be fussy, but nevertheless, you know what I'm like with my tea. Okay? just a minute. I thought I'd lost something there. You know what I'm like with my tea? I can't have it weak or milky. Anyway, so this woman behind the bar, Polish she was, she gave us 4 cups of tea, right? I was sitting at the table waiting. Stacey collected the tea and Gary and brought them over. And we sat at the table and I removed my lid and I immediately said, oh my God. I said, look how much milk she's put in that. And of course, Stacey and Gary looked at it and they said, well, what's wrong with that? I said, look, it's all milk, dear. There's no tea. I said, oh, I'll have to get her to make me another one. So I picked up the cup and took it over. Same girl, right? She was serving someone. But when she saw me, she says, yes. I said, I'm sorry, dear. Could you make us another cup of tea? There's far too much milk in it. I can't drink it. Well, dear, the attitude was unbelievable. Dreadful, dreadful attitude, right? She picked up the cup, took the lid off, had a look at it, put the lid back down, and then banged it underneath the shelf and made a face, like that. She didn't actually tut, but she'd done the face. Like that. And I thought, well, you don't need that, do you? Anyway, I didn't say anything. She made us another cup of tea and she's given me the milk to put in myself. Right, but the attitude was dreadful. Dreadful, dreadful attitude. And you don't need that, do you? The miserable face. And she can only have been there a couple of hours. I mean, because it was about 11:30 now in the morning. She can't have been there that long. Miserable, miserable cow. And where did she work? I'm going to name it. Yes, I will name it. Cafe Nero. The Cafe Nero that's within the entrance hall at Thorpe Park. Fat, miserable cow she was. Oh, really miserable. I don't like that. Really annoys me. What happened to customer services in this country? And we've discussed this so many times. I mean, I could do endless amounts of shows on customer services. If you've had bad customer service on anything, then do let us know. We do like to mention these things on the show. Okay, my email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So that was that. I then wanted, I needed a bit of paper and a pen to write down my bits and pieces for the show, you see, while I'm walking around. So I then asked Jimmy to disappear into the shop and find a pen. And he bought me, and I haven't got it with me because he stole it. Boys and girls, he stole my pen. Jimmy went over to the souvenir shop and bought me an injection pen. Okay? And it was an awful thing for children to buy. I have to say. It was like a pen, but it was in the shape of a syringe. And in the top part of it was red stuff, which I presume was supposed to be blood. You kind of push the top as if you're about to inject someone, and the nib comes out the end, the ball point, so that you can start. Awful thing, isn't it, eh? An injection pen. £1.50 for a blooming pen, dear. I told him he should have nicked it. £1.50 for a pen. And he says they got notebooks in there, £4. £4 for a notebook? I don't think so. We got this bit of paper that we used instead, actually, which is the back of one of the tickets. So we bought the injection pen. Oh, by the way, price, how much do you think this is, right? We had 4 cups of tea and 2 biscuits, 2 large cookie things from Cafe Nero in Thorpe Park. £8.95. Now, Stacey bought those. Okay, £8.95 for 4 cups of tea and 2 cookies. I mean, which is just unbelievable. I know I expect it to be a bit more, but Jesus, that's a lot of money, isn't it, eh? For just those few items. Interestingly enough, as we were walking around the park during the day, there were we saw various people with packed lunches and flasks of tea and cans of Coke, which they clearly bought in from outside. Much more sensible way to do things, to be honest. When I think about it, I mean, even if you was to stop off at a petrol station before you got there, like a Tesco's Express, or, you know, a reasonably priced one, because some of them, they don't all charge the same prices for sandwiches. Shell, I found Shell petrol stations are fairly reasonable with their sandwich prices. Even if you was to have stopped there and bought a few sandwiches and cans of drink, it would have been far cheaper than buying stuff in Thorpe Park. But there you go, you know, that's the way it is. You kind of know already that it's going to be pretty pricey to eat in a theme park, don't you? But £8.95 for 4 cups of tea and 2 biscuits, gee, far too much. Anyway, so we're just about to finish, and then Stacey went up and went to the toilet. She went to use the toilet within the entrance area before we set out on our journey. And as she was coming down the stairs, apparently some bloke said to her, "That's a nice rack you've got." I don't know what they meant by that. Rack? I mean, I thought to myself, is she carrying a portable oven with her or something? Is she going to hold coats like a coat rack? This bloke said to her, "Nice rack, love." How rude. Don't even know what it is, dear. So that was that. We entered the park, and I have to say, as you come through the entrance hall, and you get through there and to the first part of the park, it's not impressive. I think it's just the way it's set out. You can see a couple of roller coasters in the air, but it doesn't impress you. I'm sorry that I compare everything to Disney, but that's the only other theme park I've ever been to, okay? So that's why, really. But you kind of get through the entrance, and you look at them and think, oh, you know, is this it? Sort of thing. But as you walk around the park to the different areas, yes, there is actually a lot more than you would first think there is to see. The other thing walking around is I thought it looked shabby. The whole place could do with a blooming good clean and paint. It really did look very, very shabby. Certainly, again, in comparison to Disney, when I've been to Disney, you never see rubbish on the floor. everything looks like it's just been cleaned or painted. Does anyone agree with it? Anyone been to Thorpe Park and Disney and agree with what I'm saying, or perhaps disagree? Then please let us know on the usual email, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And again, all Disneys aren't the same. Certainly, the Disney in Florida is far, far superior than the Disney in Paris. Paris, I found that a little bit grubby and dirty. The American version, spotless. Absolutely spotless. So there we are. So we walked around to one of the first rides, which was the Flying Fish. And Gary and little Jimmy went on that. And we watched them go round and round. You will see it. Those of you that are watching the show on YouTube, you'll see it in the film. Incidentally, if you do want to watch the show, you're listening at the moment and you fancy a little watch of the little film that we made, then just go to unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk and look for the show dated Saturday the 7th of November 2009. Okay, Saturday the 7th of November 2009, and there you'll see the video version of this show. So that was that. So then we looked, we walked around a bit, and I went on a ride. Because while we were standing there looking at the Flying Fish, we could see all these other massive rides. What was the other one? There was Stealth. What sort of vile ride is that, dear? I mean, all these roller coasters are no good to me at all. Stealth is this ride, right, where you kind of sit on this like little train thing, and it goes along ever so fast. I've never seen a ride so fast. I mean, it must be going along on magnets or something. Unbelievably fast. And this ride goes along and then up vertically, not at an incline, not at 45 degrees, not at 80 degrees. It goes up at 90 degrees, straight up vertically, and it goes round the top and drops vertically. I mean, these people are only on the ride, I would say, I'm just showing, those of you watching the show, that's the Flying Fish going round at the moment in the background where Jimmy and Gary went on. Yeah, and this ride goes up vertically, along just a few feet along, and then down vertically as well. And you're only on the ride, I would say 20 seconds. But it is so fast, so unbelievably fast. And I said to Jimmy, I said, are you going to go? No, I'm not going on that one, he said. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you £40 if you go on it. He said, no, I don't want to go on it. It's scary. I said, I'll give you £60. And he said, no. I said, I'll buy you Guitar Hero for the computer. And he thought about it and he said, no. And as the day went on, I was offering him more and more money to go on this ride, and he got up to £100 and he still wouldn't go on it. And Gary as well, he's the older nephew, he was saying, go on Jim, he said, you can have £100 just for going on that ride, you're only on it 20 seconds, and he wouldn't go on it. Aren't I awful? Gary and Jimmy sitting on the Flying Fish there behind me there. But these people's faces, oh, they look terrified. We walked round to another game, another ride, as I say, and it was the Cup and Saucer. Now, I'm sure they've got the Cup and Saucer ride at Disney as well, and I actually went on that. And I'm no good at roller coasters at all. I don't, and it's not a point of never being on one. I have. I've been on two. I've been on Space Mountain in Disney, and I've been on the train one. Is it Thunder Mountain or something like? And I hated it. I hated them. So don't tell me if you try it you might like it, because I have tried it and I don't like it. So thank you very much. I will keep my feet firmly on the ground. So the Cup and Saucer, that was quite fun. That's where up to I think 6 people, they sit like in this cup and saucer thing, and you kind of turn a thing in the middle and all the cups and saucers go round and you go spinning and you get all dizzy. But you can try this one out actually. If you close your eyes when you're on such a ride, you will not get dizzy. It's true. You will not get dizzy if you close your eyes while you're on the ride, okay? So that was that. Then we stopped and watched some people on that ride I just told you about, Stealth, which was quite fun. And then we saw, walked around to a ride called Water Rapids, which is kind of like logs in a river, and you sit inside the log, and it goes round and round and round, and then up, and then it comes down very quickly down this water thing. No, I'm sorry, I've got that one wrong. The Water Rapids, I beg your pardon, the Water Rapids, that's where they're like, almost like tyres in the water, great big tyres, but that are actually boats. They look a bit like tyres. And you sit in there, and quite gently you go along these water rapids, and it's a little bit bouncy in parts, and now and again you get jets of water that go all over you. So that was quite nice. So we sat on there. Oh dear, I've dropped my pen there. 1 minute. Where's my pen? So that was quite nice. And Chris Reardon went on that with his little family. Oh, that was quite nice. And then we started thinking about something to eat, actually, because by now I think it was around about 2 o'clock, and we felt a bit peckish for lunch. First of all, we went past this fish and chip restaurant, which were charging £6.95 for fish and chips, which again I thought was a bit over the top. We actually ended up in Burger King, I'm afraid, which was very nice. I haven't had a Burger King for, it must be over a year now. So that was nice, and for the 4 of us to eat in there, that was about £23. So, you know, I mean, and we weren't hungry afterwards. You're never hungry after a Burger King after, are you? Have you noticed that? But I'm not being funny. When I've had a McDonald's, which is extremely rare, very, very rare, no more than 3 or 4 times a year, when I've had a McDonald's, you're always hungry about half an hour after, aren't you? Is it just me, or are you as well? Burger King, you're not hungry afterwards. I don't know what if it's something to do with the ingredients. So we had that, and then we went to another ride called Loggers Leap. Now this was the one that was the boats are shaped like logs, and you sit in the boat, and it kind of goes around this course, you know, up and down and under in dark tunnels, and you end up at the top of this hill, and it comes splashing down. Okay, so Gary, Jimmy and Stacey were all going on this. I thought to myself, no, I'm sorry, that's too high for me. So I stood at the bottom near a fence with my camera, okay? And I stood there, and I waited, and I waited, and all these people were coming down. I thought, well, they've got to come down in a minute. Various people stood next to me and with their cameras, and I started talking to them. Oh, I talked to anyone. They must think, who's this bloke talking to me now? So I spoke to people while I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And eventually, oh, just a minute. Something's gone wrong. What's happened there? Something's gone wrong with my, Oh. Well, I don't know what's happened there. Just a minute. I've lost my, my vision picture. I wonder if it's something to do with the electrics. Just a minute. I'll go and get, I'm just going to get, oh, let me just turn that off there, just a minute. Now, where's my, power source? Something's gone terribly wrong. We've lost vision. We've lost vision. 1 minute. Fancy that happening right at the end of the show as well. Just plug that in there, 1 minute. Oh dear me. I think we might have to just, show the film instead. Oh, I don't know why that does. But my camera just switched off, the one that I do the video to the show on. Right, let's turn that back on. Oh, it's a dead battery. Oh, that's strange, isn't it? There we are, back. There we are, back again. Back again. How are we doing on time? About 6 minutes left, all right. Now, there we are. Oh, right. So I'm standing there all this time, and eventually empty boats started coming down. And what happened, a couple of empty boats come down, and then people started coming down again, and then this boat just stopped right at the top of the ride, and the thing had broken down. The thing had broken down, so they made an announcement for people to either come down from the queue and go on another ride and come back later, or you could wait. Well, of course, my three decided to wait, and they waited and they waited. Well, this game didn't start again. So in the end, I'd been standing there by this fence for about 45 minutes waiting for them to come down, and it never happened. So that broke down, but never mind. So that's that. Logger's Leap, that was called. One thing I noticed, like, when people are on roller coasters, why do they put their hands up as they're coming down? My God, I mean, surely you want to hang on to something, don't you? When you're coming down these blooming steep hills and on those roller coasters. But look, they've got their hands in the air like this. And you're thinking, are you mad? Hold on, dear. Hold on for dear life. So we had that. And then one thing I did notice there was another ride which was called Tidal Wave. Tidal Wave, that's it. And again, it's a very large boat, and it goes up and up and up and up, and then it comes down at an angle and hits the water, and they get soaked, absolutely soaks on this ride. And again, there were several times we saw that breakdown. In all, I think we saw 3 rides break down that day, and wasn't impressed with that at all. I don't know if they had a bad day or what. Never seen a ride break down at Disney, personally. But 3 rides in one day, in one theme park, did seem a bit excessive to me, and a lot of disappointed people walking around all the time. We also went in this frightening maze thing, because being as it was Halloween, they'd set up these like large tent type affairs, and they were very dark and were full of smoke, and basically people just jumping out on you and trying to scare you. So that was all right. I went in there, and then we went back to the Logger's Leap thing to see if that was working, and it was, and it was quite dark by now. So the 3 of them went on there, and I said, "How long will you be?" And so, "Oh, okay, about 15 minutes." Right. So I sat back down near the fence, but it was too dark with the camera now, so I thought I'd get myself a cup of tea and an ice cream and waffle. Well, I mean, I was so slow with that. The service was ever so slow. I don't know what this woman was doing behind there. This is not Cafe Nero. This is the ice cream and waffle place, which was right next to the train, like the miniature train thing that people sit on, next to Logger's Leap. So slow. Anyway, I eventually got my ice cream and waffle and cup of tea, and I'm sitting down. And as I sat down, the 3 of them come back. I said, "Oh, have you been on it?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "What have you got there?" I said, "Oh, I thought you'd be finished by now. You know, we're trying to sneak this ice cream in before they got back." Unfortunately, they both arrived. All 3 of them arrived back, so I had to buy everyone an ice cream and everything again. Never mind. So that was quite nice. We also had a hot dog that day. Hot dog with tomato sauce. So really, a day of eating nothing but rubbish, and it didn't stop there. Because we got home, and my best friend Ronnie and his other half Andy came down, and I took us all out for a nice Pizza Hut. So a lot of rubbish eaten that day. Really a lot of rubbish. But, you know, it was a lovely day, really. A little bit more to tell you about it, but not on this show, because I've run out of time, boys and girls. I'm sorry about a little bit of a problem with the video sort of halfway through, but it's all working now. Thanks very much for joining me on the show. My email address, if you want to join in at any time, and it's always a pleasure to hear from you, even if it's just to say, "Oh, we don't like your show," or, "Yeah, we like your show. My name's so-and-so, I'm in," that's fine, you know, 2 lines or pages of emails, whatever they are, it's always a pleasure to hear from you. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Got to get this room ready now for James Dean's arrival. No doubt he'll make as much mess as he usually does. Thanks for watching and listening to United Kingdom Talk. Myself, Chris Reardon. See you on the next show.